You're on the air?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, bud.
This is the first time I've heard your station, too, and I was just wondering, I remember listening to Bill Cooper a few years ago on another station.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just wondering, I mean, what else is on here besides Bill? What other stuff is on? What is it, WBCQ? Or?
Yeah, but WBCQ.
Yeah, well, what else is on here besides Cooper's show?
Well, it's a good station. I mean, on the business side, dealing with Alan Weiner, it has been a pleasure. I've done a lot of business in my short life, and it has been very pleasurable. And they got some good programming. They got some good people up there. Randy Steele, they've got RNI, Radio Free New York. And,
Never heard of it.
Gary Bourgeois is on Friday Night Live. They've got some good programming.
Oh, a lot of militia stuff, a lot of patriot stuff?
Oh, no, just a whole plethora of stuff. Yeah, the Midnight Watchman, if I'm wrong, I apologize, I believe that's the name, is a religious type show, like a, I don't know what to call it, but, you know, a religious show.
Yeah.
And it's pleasant to listen to, though. I don't agree with everything he says, but that doesn't matter. It's one that doesn't make me want to turn him off, like some of the ilk that's out there on the air. And Gary Bourgeois' show is fun. Johnny Lightning is good. Alan Weiner, Randy Steele. There's just some good Radio New York International, Radio Free New York. These shows are all on there. It's a good station. You can look up their website and see the schedule. They have a schedule on the web, or you know, write them, whatnot, call them.
Well, I remember back in the old days when it used to be wall to wall, just nothing but black helicopters and New World Order, and everyone hates Bill Clinton. And all right, let's get on the phone lines. Hello there.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a more kinder, gentler version of the old Patriot days, huh?
Well, Huh? Yeah. I don't really know how to address that, and I only say that because of, I don't know. I just don't know.
I love that type of programming because, you know, I think it's entertaining. I mean, personally, you know, I think the Patriots kind of showed their ilk to me back in '93 or whatever it was when they were going to march on Washington, and then all of a sudden they called it off. We're not going to do that. And I'm like, what a bunch of wimps. What would you do if you were really in combat? You know. So from that point forward, I just started listening to it for entertainment value and just laughed my head off at it.
Well, there were some people portraying themselves in a lot of areas, as patriots or militia leaders or constitutionalists that aren't. But it's no different than any other facet of society. There's people that claim to be honest this or honest that. It's like I was in the Army, and it's an oxymoron to say that honest recruiter, I've been told. Sometimes there's elements that are bad and misleading, or they take the first thing they hear and run with it, and unfortunately it sometimes is lumped in with the good and gives everything a bad, a stench. But that happens everywhere. I mean, there's good businessmen and bad businessmen. There's everything.
Well, it just seems to me if you're going to, say something and then back down, then when the crap really does hit the fan, we can't expect you to be around. So at that point, I just, like I said, I started listening to it for entertainment. Said, these Patriots ain't serious. One good blast from a tank, and they'll be hiding under the bed, going, "Please, Jesus, save me."
Yeah, there probably are those. Excuse me. Oh. Just curious, where are you going to be at?
Where am I going to be at?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be out there fighting the government because I don't care. I'm basically a 35-year-old person that has no family, and I can pretty much go out there and put my ass on the line any day, and it doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
But these people, they're just real blowhards on the radio, but when it comes down to the real shooting, they're going to be, like I said, hiding somewhere going, "Please, please, don't let us get hurt."
Well,
No, I got nothing to lose, so I'll probably be out there, shooting UN soldiers and taking names and stuff. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I just, I don't care. I got no family. I got nothing, man. I'm just a combat soldier waiting to go into combat.
Yeah. Just a second. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But but I always enjoyed listening to Bill. I always thought he had some rather interesting stuff on there, especially at one time when he did this whole thing on, I think it was like the Kabbalah, or this whole kind of like secret society thing, and that was like really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's done a whole lot of interesting shows. I was just curious, just because, why do you feel you'll be right out in the front?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, because that's probably where I'll go. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than, I've basically hated the way this country's gone since like about 1984, but I've simply said there ain't nothing I can do about it at this point, but when people finally get enough, then I'll be there. And so I'll just, I'll be out front.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been waiting for it for so long, but people haven't gotten enough apparently in this country of what's going on. People still think it's just happy days as usual, so what can I do?
Yeah. Well, I just was curious because, things like this, you're talking about shooting or whatnot, or mass civil unrest, or can be quite scary, and sometimes it changes people's views very quickly. That's when you really find out people's mettle is under fire. I have seen it firsthand, and I just was curious what made you feel you were going to be out in the forefront, because I had a assistant gunner overseas in the Army that told me to quit firing my M60 on the ground attack because we were going to draw fire. And I just wondered, he outranked me, and he was really ashamed to the rank which he held, which I respected very much so, a non-commissioned officer in the United States Army. And it was just a pity. And I was just curious because up till then I had the utmost respect for him, and he really seemed like a hard charger.
I guess my reason would basically be because I feel I don't have anything to lose, and who knows, maybe I can make a difference.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I know that, like I said, maybe I'm just throwing my life away, but what the hell?
Yeah. All right.
I just, if it ever comes down to a fight, I want to be out there. I want to, because, I hate the way this country's gone. I mean, they basically give everything to the minorities that come into this country, and it's, for somebody like me who was born in this country, I feel almost like, I feel like I'm in a foreign country, man. I feel like I'm the one who ought to, leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand people's concerns over immigration, but, I came from, the immigration capital of the world, I sometimes thought. And I know that sometimes it's used as a device to split people up. Okay, I saw it used frequently by different factions in the media, or different PACs, political action committees, or pukes, or whatever they call themselves, at the state level, and lobbyists and whatnot. It was used to cut people up more frequently than anything. They could get in there and tell one side, you're getting screwed, all your money's going to this guy coming in, and they tell the other side, he's not going to give you nothing. They get a big old fight going for no reason. There's massive protest. I think you could have seen it almost any time of an election year in California. Protests that didn't need to happen because problems were stirred up over race.
Well, I don't know. It just, to me, it just seems like as a white Anglo-Saxon sort of person, I've been basically put behind, blacks, gays, women, the children. Of course, we always have to hear about the children from Clinton. And finally, number 5 comes me.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to address that. I mean, I'm white, and I don't know. There are a lot of times these things about he's doing it, or they're doing it, or she's doing it. It isn't the race that's doing it, unfortunately. The government is making it an issue. I think just think back to some of the news reports you see, the immigration wasn't near an issue that it used to be in California till certain factions of the media got in there and stirred it up and misreported 187, Proposition 187, and one side's getting told, you know what, your family's never going to get to come here, you're going to be separated from all your relatives for the rest of your life if this passes, and the other side is saying, if you don't pass this, your kid's never going to go to school, and you're going to end up in a prison camp, and I heard all sorts of stuff about that, and That's a hard one to tell. There's a lot of manipulation out there. Race is the quickest thing for someone to jump on if they want to cut people, split them up. I'm sure as you, I've had friends of all races and haven't had a problem with any of them. My best friend over in the Army was a black guy, really good guy, Marcel Douglas. I miss him. I wish I could find him. I can't find him. And I don't have a problem with any of them.
Cool. Then I guess you're in the right place, I mean, it's becoming predominantly more and more brown every day, so if you're happy here, God bless you. I mean, my attitude is either this place has got to change or I guess I got to immigrate back to Europe. I mean, maybe it's time for white people just to flee back to Europe.
Oh.
Leave it to the blacks and the Jews and the Indians, and let's see if they can run this country in such a great place. I bet you this place would fall apart in 2 weeks without us here to help run it.
Well, Bozo, what you waiting for? How come you ain't on the boat going back to Europe already?
Well, because I keep hoping that maybe things will change.
No, things ain't never going to change. Things might get better, and things might get better for a lot of people, but things ain't never going to go your way.
I suppose that's probably true.
That's absolutely true. Now, I've been sitting in there listening to you jack around with Doyle because he's new on this radio for a while.
Yeah.
Now, try jacking with me, bud.
Well, I ain't scared of you. I mean, what
I didn't say you were scared of me. Let's hear all your baloney now.
All right, I'll be happy to tell you. I think this world is based, or at least this country has pretty much been taken over by Jews. I think that this country is being fed a lot of politically correct garbage, and a lot of young white people are buying it, and it's being put out by the Jewish-controlled media.
Buying exactly what? Be specific. What are you talking about?
All right, you know how we all need to have this diversity, and we all need to come together, and we all need to listen to rap music, and we all need to have miscegenation. We all need to, let our white women sleep with black men, and we all need to just go have this.
Nobody's making you do any of that.
They may not be making it, but they're certainly influencing the young people to do it. It's more and more happening out there.
Do you ever hear of freedom? Young people have minds; they can make choices. I bet you're one of these guys that think that the white race is being diluted, right?
Absolutely.
Well, why don't you go find a blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl and have a bunch of babies, and you wouldn't have a problem, would you?
Because they're all banging niggers, basically.
Oh, really?
Come on.
Really?
At least from what I can tell, a lot of them are.
Well, so what if they are?
Well, so
Is that any of your business? Who are you banging?
Why ain't I banging?
Who?
Well, I can tell you it ain't no black woman or no Indian.
I can tell you right now, you ain't banging nobody.
Well, no, right now I'm talking on the phone. And I'll tell you something.
You're not
else,
talking on.
Whether or not I am getting laid or not is irrelevant to the.
No, it's absolutely relevant. You're the one who brought it up. You made it an issue.
That this country is going down the tubes and in another.
No. Free people are making free choices and doing what they believe they should be doing, and they're not taking orders from you. That's what really makes you angry, doesn't it?
Well, one day they may be taking orders, not from me, though, but from a guy named Dr. Pierce.
No. You want to bet? How much you want to bet?
How much I want to bet on?
Yeah, how much you want to bet? How much money you got? I'll bet you everything you got in this whole world. Dr. Pierce? Dr. Pierce? Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody in this world going to take orders from Dr. Pierce. I bet you his wife don't even take orders from him if he's lucky enough to have one.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the National Alliance is out there speaking for people's rights,
The National Alliance is out there making fools out of themselves, just like you're doing on this broadcast.
And if you're happy living in a world full of mongrels and blacks and Indians...
I'm happy living with anybody who's a decent, nice, polite, respectable human being who believes in freedom, not Nazi stormtroopers like you.
Well, I feel sad for you, man.
No, you don't have to feel sad for me. You ought to feel sad for yourself. There isn't 500 of you people in this whole country. If you all had guns and rose up tomorrow, you couldn't even storm an anthill and win the battle. And you damn well know it. So what is all this rhetoric about, I'm going to be taking orders from Dr. Pierce? Dr. Pierce is nobody. He's nothing. He has no army, and nobody takes orders from him. Unless maybe it's some fool like you.
Well, all I I can say is I find it, kind of sad that, people like you who call themselves patriots and...
You find it sad that there's free people in this world who make free choices and want to live in peace with each other, and you can't put on your little Nazi uniform and march around with your goose step and round people up and kill them. It's not going to happen. Not ever. You're dreaming.
Well, we did a pretty good job of it in the 40s over in Europe. It could happen.
No, you didn't. You got your butts kicked royal.
That's right.
Yeah, it took just about every country, including the U.S., to do it. I mean,
we
were kicking ass until the United States.
Didn't take every country, and you weren't kicking anything. You weren't there. And if you had have been there, you'd have dug a hole and hid in it.
Had to have the big old U.S. come in. Come on, boys, let's go over there. France was getting wasted. Europe, England was in a blitzkrieg. If the United States hadn't stepped in, you would right now be speaking German.
Oh, I would, really?
Yes, you would.
Yeah, and just how exactly were you going to accomplish that when you couldn't even invade England? And it wasn't you anyway? What do you mean we? What's all this we stuff? You weren't there, little boy. You didn't have a uniform. There wasn't a swastika for your arm, and you didn't have a rifle. You didn't fight that war.
We as in the Aryan people.
You as in the fool, making a fool of yourself on the air to the whole world. You know how stupid and idiotic you sound?
No more stupid and idiotic than you do, thinking that you're going to have some sort of a country with...
I already have a country.
How long do you think you're going to keep it before it's like Kinshasa or like Haiti? How long do you think it's going to be before you walk out in the street and there's no electricity, there's old cars running around, there's, crap all over the streets, there's people walking around, with, voodoo drums beating them.
Voodoo drum?
Yeah, it'll be, within 100 years, this place is going to look just like Haiti or Kinshasa or any other.
You're just about the stupidest idiot that I have ever heard in my entire life.
It will within 100 years. I'll bet you. If we could take
within 100 years, there's going to be a much better world than there is now. And people like you probably will still be here. You'll be on your little soapbox, but you won't have any power, and you won't be ordering anybody around, and you won't be in charge.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Okay, you could be right. I mean, you very well could.
I know I'm right. You haven't got you have no power, no numbers, no nothing, and nobody wants to follow little Hitlers around.
But I can tell you, within 100 years, white people will probably almost not exist in this country. And
what do you care? You're not going to be here in 100 years, and if it makes all those people happy to be whatever they be and marry whoever they marry and have their children happily living in peace, what is it to you?
Well,
what's your problem?
Well, it just seems kind of sad that a race that invented so much is going to basically die off the face of the earth.
What do you care?
Well, I'm part of it, damn it. I don't want
Well, why don't you, I'm going to ask you again. I asked you before, you didn't answer me. Why don't all you guys that are so worried about your race go find little blonde-haired, blue-eyed Susies and just make babies till you can't walk anymore?
And again, I'll answer your question because they're all stupid niggers right now.
No, they're not. It's because you turned them off. They don't want to be with you. That's why. They want to be with nice, decent people, not raving maniacs. That's why.
Well, fine then. Like I said, you're happy in 300 or 400 years no longer having a people on this planet, then I guess, you're right.
I have people on this. I have lots of people on this planet. Lots of decent people. Lots of wonderful friends of all different races and all different religions. I'm married to a full-blood Chinese woman from Taiwan. My children have Native American, English, Scotch, Irish, and Chinese blood in them. I'm part Native American. We're all decent people. My daughters are some of the most beautiful, most intelligent children you'll ever find. What's your problem, bozo?
I just told you my problem is within 1,000 years that there's going to...
You're not going to be here in 1,000 years. That isn't your problem, because in 1,000 years, you don't give a damn what's going to be here because you're not going to be here.
We will be extinct.
Who's we? I won't be extinct.
Yes,
I
you
have
will.
children that'll pass on my genetics to their children. You're going to be extinct because
yes,
you
you
can't
will.
you can't find your little blue-eyed blonde girl to make babies with.
Your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchild is going to be with nappy hair and dark skin, and you just watch. And if you, like I said, if you think that's cool, then our race will.
You know something?
Exist.
You know something?
Then-
Whatever my great-grandchildren turn out to be, they'll be decent, nice, wonderful people. They won't be raving maniacs like you, and it will make me very happy.
Hooray.
I don't care what they look like. All I care is that they're decent, nice human beings that can live in peace with their neighbors and care about freedom.
Well, hooray for America.
No, I didn't say anything about America. What's your problem?
I just told you, but apparently you don't find it a problem, so...
No, I don't find it a problem, and it's not a problem for you. You keep talking about 100 years from now and 1,000 years from now. That's not your problem. You're not going to be here.
Well, it seems a shame to me that when this.
Why is it a shame you're not going to be here? What do you care how people look and what race they are and how they're living 100 years or 1,000 years from now?
Because, like I said, it just seems a shame when we've done so much to bring civilization
Who's
to everything.
done so much? Who's done so much to bring civilization
By
anyway?
Europeans.
You know something? You've never read a history book in your life. When the Romans invaded Europe, you know what they found there? They didn't find any wonderful civilization. They found naked Teutons running around in the woods, living in stick huts. That's what they found. There wasn't any civilization in Germany. There wasn't any civilization in Europe when the Romans got there. There were tribes of people clad in raw animal skins living in huts.
Maybe my geography is a little off, but isn't Rome in Italy, and isn't Italy part of Europe? So obviously that part of Europe was civilized. The Roman Empire was civilized.
You know where the Romans got their civilization?
Nowhere.
From Egypt. You know where Egypt got it? From Mesopotamia. And the Assyrians.
Well, I don't
None
even
of
know
that.
what an Assyrian is.
That's obvious.
I do know that Rome is part of Italy, and Italy is part of Europe. So that part, at least, of Europe must have been civilized back then. So there was civilization in Europe, and like I said, I mean, we have.
Wait, whoa. Hold it there. You said that the Aryan Europeans were responsible for civilizing the world.
Well,
you weren't even listening to what I said.
I was thinking somewhat later. I heard what you said it when they went to Europe.
Sorry, my friend, but you're not thinking much at all.
They found
I've heard
Teutons
I've heard this story before. That all civilization in this world comes from the Aryan Germanic tribes. I've heard it. I've heard it from Dr. Pierce. I've heard it from all of the rest of you raving maniacs.
I was thinking more into like the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th century. I wasn't thinking way back then. I was thinking more of like classical music, whether you want to talk about Shakespeare, literature. I'll tell you, I can't think of any other people that have been able to create literature like Europeans have.
How do you know?
Well, because for one thing, I've read some of it. I mean, basically, I have this book
You
called Black Stories of Africa or something, and it's stories about animals. One day Lion got up and said, "I am hungry." I mean, it's the dumbest stuff. I mean, they're talking about animals, and Shakespeare's doing stories.
Can you read ancient Egyptian?
Never. No, I can't read ancient.
Can you read Greek?
Speak?
Can you read Greek?
No.
Gee.
Well, I have, though. I do have a lot of Greek mythology. I have.
Can you read Greek?
No, I can't.
Can you read the Indian language from the nation of India?
No, I cannot.
Well, then, how can you tell that there is no great literature anywhere else? Have you ever read the Vedas?
It's been translated into English.
Have you read it?
Not those particular things, no.
So, what have you read?
Just different legends, like legends of the Navajos and, You know, because I see I'm into mythology. I'm really into different mythology.
Yeah,
Greek and Roman mythology is like very, very cool, and then when you get into other mythologies, it's like, you know, it just goes down into just stupidity. You know, so the Greeks and Romans, you know, they were like light years ahead, even back then. I don't know. I say I can't convince you, man. If you think that this is a great place the way it is, then you know.
The reason you can't convince me is you have no argument. Your argument is based upon the fact that you just absolutely cannot stand other people. Anybody who doesn't look and smell and taste and feel and dress like you and live like you, to you, doesn't belong on this earth. Isn't that correct?
Well, at least not in this country. They can find their own damn country, can't they?
What do you mean find their own? This is their country. Anyone born in this country is a citizen of this country. Anyone born in any state of the 50 states is a citizen of that state. It's their country.
Well, I wish I had the money to leave.
Well, why don't you? Why don't all you guys get together, pool your money, buy some island somewhere, get you a rowboat, row out to your island, make your Fourth Reich, and you'll all be happy.
If there was a place to go, believe me, I'd make the effort to go there.
There are places to go. Why don't you look around? Why don't you get together with all your buddies, throw all your money into the pot, buy you an island somewhere, and, you know, get you a boat and get yourselves out there. Make your own country. Make your Fourth Reich. You can run around killing each other. I guarantee you, after a while, you know, you're not going to like each other either. Because you have a problem that has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that problem would be other than,
I know you
like
don't.
I said, Mike.
I know you don't. That's why you put it off on other people. But the problem's in you. It's not in those other people. There's nobody running around making you go to bed with anybody. You can go to bed with whoever you want. So if your race is being diluted, you're the one diluting it. And if you can't find a woman of the same race as you, if that's the kind of woman that you want, then you better sit down and ask yourself, what's wrong with you?
I never said that they were forcing me, but, you know, you turn on MTV any day and you hear this rap music playing, and what they are doing is they basically are getting the young children that are between, say, 10 and 14 and 15, and they're filling their heads with this garbage. I mean, a lot of people
No, they're not. Nobody is going up to anybody and knocking on their head and opening up their skull and shoving music down their brain. These people are going and buying the music that they want to hear. Nobody's forcing them to buy it. Nobody's forcing them to listen to it. The black rappers are not making music for little white children to screw with their brains. Their music is for blacks. If you listen to it, it's black music for blacks. If white children like it, there's nothing that you're going to do about that. People are going to gravitate to what they like, whether you like it or not.
Well, I think that's an awfully sad, I guess.
You think freedom is sad?
I guess, well, I guess when you're free to just completely ruin what was a good idea, and America was a good idea 200 years ago, but I guess if that's what freedom's all about, then okay.
Well, if you're talking about, hold on just a second. If you're talking about the fact that we are all of us, of all races and all religions who are Americans are losing our freedoms, and we need to get our freedoms back, then I'm with you. If you're talking about just you need America the way it was 200 years ago, and everybody who doesn't look like you and dress like you and live in the same house as you can't have that, then you're wrong, and it's not going to be that way.
Well, I can even remember in my life when it wasn't like this. I mean, I'm only 35 years old, and even in the 70s, things made some sense to me. Even in the 70s, at least things made some sense to me.
You sound like you're lost. Things make sense to me everywhere except for the fact that we're losing our freedoms. See, I think people should be free to say and do and live and marry and have the hobby and travel and all of the things that they want to do as long as they never injure the person or property of any other human being, and I don't care what race or religion they are.
Well,
Times are going to change. The world is always in a state of change. You're never going to find a place, a neighborhood, a block, a city, a state, or a country that's not going to change. That's the way of the world. The world does not stand still.
Well, I can only imagine what it's going to be 20 years from now. It's probably we'll probably all be living in 5 foot of garbage.
Don't let your imagination run away with you. The human race is pretty good overall, and people might let problems get away with them here and there, but eventually they get around to solving those problems and taking care of them. Most people are not going to stand for living in 5 feet of garbage or even 1 inch of garbage. They'll take care of it. Trust me.
Well, I just know that I hate the world that I'm in 1998. I'm afraid of it, and all I know what to do is when I'm full of hate and fear is to get my gun and go out there and fight whatever it is that causes me hate and fear.
Well, I hope you don't do that. You know, if we all get together and you want to participate in a great restoration of constitutional Republican government so that we can all live free together in peace, I'll help you do that. But if you want to pick up a gun and go out and shoot somebody you never saw before in your life because you don't like the color of their skin, I'll shoot you if I see you trying it. You'll be the one I shoot. You understand that?
All right, that's fair. That's fine.
And just remember that I'm not the only one.
Okay, fine. Well, hell, it'll be a 3-way fight. It'll be...
No, it'll be about everybody that you can see shooting at you. That's what it'll be.
Well, that may be the case, and maybe I'd be better off dead.
Well, I wish you wouldn't feel that way. I don't understand why you feel like the world is so bad. The world is a wonderful place. There are wonderful people out there. There are great people out there. There's great things to do. Instead of balling yourself up in all this hatred and fear, why don't you find something good that you can do and some good people that you can do it with and make your mark on history and be remembered as a good man who did some good for somebody? Because you know what I hear from you?
What?
I hear you're going to be on death row probably in another couple of months. If you keep thinking the way you're thinking, you're going to go out and kill somebody, and you're going to be on death row somewhere.
Well, I've been a skinhead since 1980.
That's not something to be proud of. You keep telling me that America was so great 200 years ago or 100 years ago. You don't even understand America if you're a skinhead and you're proud of that. A skinhead is a socialist. Nazis are socialists. Hitler was a socialist. Nazi means National Socialist German Workers' Party. The ultimate goal of socialism is communism. Did you ever read Karl Marx? Do you even have any idea of what you're a part of? If you want to be American, you can't be a part of that. America is for freedom.
Well, then why did Hitler fight the communists if communism is socialism's ultimate goal?
Because all of these people are like everybody else. They don't understand that. They didn't read Karl Marx either. The average person that falls in line behind some silly leader doesn't have the slightest clue what's going on. He just hears what sounds good to him. It was a war between the socialists and the communists, and the socialists won, and Hitler socialized Germany.
I never heard that before.
That's because you're listening to people who manipulate you like Dr. Pierce. To serve his own agenda as his own private little stormtrooper. Why don't you try being a leader sometime instead of a blind, stupid follower?
God, I hate to say this, but you kind of stopped me. It's true, I never thought of it, but Nazi does stand for National Socialist Party, and then that doesn't make any sense. What have they been telling me for the last 20 years?
You see, that's the whole purpose of this broadcast. You know, my heart goes out to you because I know that you've been lied to and misled, and you're being manipulated and used by people who have an agenda to divide and conquer the world and bring the whole world under socialism. That's what the New World Order is all about. That's what I spend my time on this microphone trying to do, is wake people up to this and get them to stop listening to everybody else. That's why I tell people, listen to everybody. Read everything. Believe absolutely nothing unless you can prove it. You do your research and understand what it is that's going on. And that includes me. It includes Dr. Pierce. It includes William Jefferson Clinton. It includes your preacher in your church. This is the age of deception, and if you're not careful, you will be used as some worm on somebody's hook to catch a big fish.
Wow. That's...
What you're looking for is respect, recognition, love, freedom, a place where you belong, and you're not going to find it where you're at. All you're going to find is heartache and misery and self-doubt, and people are never going to respect you or love you because of what you stand for.
Well, I never belonged anywhere. I mean, I was a junkie until I got into the party.
That's exactly who they go after to recruit.
You know, they got me off of drugs. They got me to stop shooting up. They straightened me up, and they, you know.
Yeah, that's what they do. And they make you feel like you belong, and you think you do, and then they use you. There's no future there. There's not going to be another Third Reich or Fourth Reich. There's not going to be another period in history where somebody marches through countries murdering people.
No great cleansing, huh?
What do you need cleansing for? I mean, if you need cleansing, take a shower. I do.
Well, it's what we've been told for years it was coming. You know, if we just stand strong and we just have faith that one day enough of us, you know, would wake up and all the Jews and the blacks would be removed from our society.
And then let me ask you, what kind of society do you think is going to be left after that happens? What do you think you're going to be a part of after that happens?
A white European society.
What kind of white European society? Have you ever really studied Hitler's Germany? Have you ever really talked to people who lived in Germany at that time? I've talked to a lot of them. It was a fearful time, and they weren't afraid of the Allies, the English and the Americans. They looked forward to them coming. They were afraid of their own people. They were scared to death. Hitler had their own children ratting them out. The Gestapo was everywhere. Nobody could trust anybody. It is the most terrible kind of life that you could possibly imagine. Afraid to even whisper something to your best friend for fear that the walls had ears or that your best friend might rat you out.
That sounds more like communist Russia in the 50s. You know.
It's what socialism always is. Socialism is a lie.
I don't know. All this, I've really never heard any of this before, and you're somewhat. I'm not really sure what the word would be. I guess blowing my mind, sort of.
Well, I don't want to blow your mind, and I don't want to hurt you, but I would like for you to start thinking for yourself and to go out.
I'm all right. I mean, I'm just.
Well, apparently you're not, because somebody has been thinking for you for a lot of years. You haven't really sat down and thought for yourself.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Like I said, I was just a street, punk, shooting dope in my arm, and these skinheads found me and cleaned me up and got me together, and I worked a few years when I was out in Montana with the Aryan Nations, and then I came down here and got with Dr. Pierce's people, and I just always thought I was doing what I should.
What you should be doing is helping to build a better world where all people can live peacefully, free, together, with responsibility, under law, not afraid. The kind of world that Dr. Pierce wants to build is a world of fear and misery and murder and blood. And people ratting you out every 3 minutes. Your own children turning against you. That was Germany in the 1930s and 40s. That's what Dr. Pierce wants.
I was always taught that it was an orderly society, that back in those days no one walked around in fear except...
Well, then why didn't you go live in the Soviet Union when it was there? I mean, that was an orderly society.
Well, because I was told that...
The what?
that was communist. I mean...
That's exactly... Hitler was just a half a step from that.
I know.
He was socialist, and read Lenin. Read Marx. They'll tell you the ultimate goal of socialism is communism.
That's what I'm saying. This whole thing is like all new thinking to me.
Yeah, well,
it's like I said, I'm kind of glad I made this phone call.
Well, I'm glad you made it if you're starting to see some light out there somewhere. There's a lot of good people in this world. Most people are good people. That includes blacks, that includes Orientals, that includes Hispanics, that includes whites, that includes Native Americans. And in every single group, there's a layer of what you might call pond scum, including in the white race. And in fact, if you want to know the truth about the white race, most people who are on welfare are not blacks, they're whites. And if you don't believe that, you can check the statistics yourself. They're available for anybody who wants to find them.
What about the media in this country? Is it controlled by Jewish people?
The media is controlled by corporations. The media is owned by corporations. Anybody can own the media. All you have to do is buy the stock. If you want to own the media, all of you guys get together and buy the stock, and the media belongs to you. You're white, right?
Yeah.
What was your life before they picked you up?
No, just shooting up, getting in fights, selling drugs.
Wow. I thought you said the white race was somehow superior. Sounds just like the black junkie. Sounds just like the Hispanic junkie. Sounds just like the Native American junkie. You're white junkie. You're all junkies.
Well, the way they explained it to me is I had just been misled, and...
You know better than that. You weren't misled. You were a junkie because you chose to shoot up with dope. No black person, no Jew was standing there talking you into it or shooting you up with it.
No, you're right.
You did it to yourself. Jews didn't do it to you, and the blacks didn't do it to you. And you have to take your own personal responsibility. And you should be able to spot these lies when they tell them to you. It's so easy to buy these lies because you don't want to admit the truth to yourself. You did it.
No, I guess not.
So the next time you see a black junkie, remember when you were a junkie, take pity on the poor soul and help him out. Don't go over and kick him and beat him up, because that could have been you. Only difference is he's a black junkie, you were a white junkie. And there ain't no superiority in a crack house.
Well, they didn't even have crack when I was using.
Well, whatever you were using, I mean, nobody was superior to anybody when you're in a drunken, drug-induced coma, lying on some filthy mattress in some burnout tenement somewhere, or wherever the hell you did it.
That's pretty close to where they found me.
Yeah, you see? So what you should be doing is thanking God that somebody came along and helped you, but you also have to understand they helped you for a purpose. They couldn't go out and get a person who wasn't on drugs, who can think and understands and knows what they're up to. They had to come and get you. Then they had to lie to you and manipulate you and twist your mind all around and fill you full of hate and set you up for death row somewhere, because they got you pointed in a direction where they're going to have you killing somebody pretty soon. Or they fill you full of so much hate that you're just going to go off and do it of your own accord. And I pray, I'm going to pray to God tonight really, really hard that you don't do that.
I'm afraid I may already have. I've been in quite a few, shall we say, altercations, between us and other people.
Why don't you set a new course for your life and decide not to do that anymore and find a way to help people instead of hurt them?
Well, when I think of the last 17 years, I got shot for those people, man. I got stabbed for them.
Yeah, what did it accomplish?
Apparently not much. I went to prison for those people.
You see what I mean? You know you've been used. I don't even have to tell you that. You know it. And you've suffered for it. You could have had a completely different life. And you still can. And I'll bet you anything you don't get goosebumps when the swastika flag marches by. I'll bet you get goosebumps when the Stars and Stripes marches by. Am I correct?
Anymore, I really don't react much to either of them.
Well, I can understand how you might be that way after the life that you've been leading. You might be totally desensitized to anything. And that's an extremely dangerous and very cold and lonely place to find yourself.
I've had to be that way. You let up, emotions are the thing that can kill you. I've had to teach myself to be cold. I've had to teach myself, no matter what, never cry, never show any emotion. Even if I feel bad, put it down. Don't ever show emotion.
That's the same as being dead. Your emotions are what make you human. That's what makes you alive. It's what makes you worth knowing. Nobody wants to know a cold Robotron.
I thought that's kind of how you had to be. You had to, in order to be able to fulfill the great tasks that we had before us.
Well,
you had to be able to just...
That's the way they'd love for you to be, so that you won't question what they want you to do, and that you'll march right along in goose-step fashion and commit the murders and the mayhem and the beatings and the chaos and all of the things that they know that they will be using to fracture society in this country so that socialism can take over the world. That's what it's all about, divide and conquer.
Well, I don't want socialism.
That's what you're going to get, because that's what Nazi means, and that's what these people are.
I thought I'd been fighting against socialism all these years and communism.
Not at all. That's what they all want you to believe, but it's not true. You see, they all say that Hitler was right-wing and socialists are left-wing, and the socialists are the good guys. Yet if you read Mein Kampf, and you read history, and you look at exactly what Hitler did in Germany, he was a socialist. His party was the National Socialist German Workers' Party, and he socialized Germany. He wanted to socialize the world. And his whole movement came out of the secret societies known as the Tool Society, which is just another extension of Mystery Babylon.
Wow. I have absolutely no response.
Well, no response is necessary. I'm just glad I'm hearing a different kind of person right now.
Well, I mean, everything you're saying, when I stop and think about it for a minute or two, it makes sense.
Well, I hope that it does, but I also don't want you to trust that I'm telling you the truth. You go and check it out. You'll find that it's true. But the only way that you'll ever really know is if you go check it out yourself.
All right. I will.
And don't go tell your friends what you're doing now, because they'll talk you out of it. And they'll try to shame you and make you feel like you're some kind of a traitor or something. And you'll be right back caught, trapped in that hole with the spider.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you talking to me, man.
Well, I appreciate your ability to think. You see, you're not as far gone as they'd like you to be, because evidently you can still reason.
Yeah, I originally had called up. I was just going to give that kid a hard time, and
Well, that's why I came in here. I heard exactly what you were doing, and Doyle's new to radio. He doesn't know how to handle that. And so I came in to take that off of him, because I know that he was feeling a little put on, and he didn't know how to deal with it. So I came in, and I'm glad that I did.
Well, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna go out and get a book of Mein Kampf. I've never even read this thing.
Wow, how could you be a part of the movement and not have... That's like somebody saying I'm a Christian and never read the Bible, or saying I'm an American and never read the Constitution for the United States of America. See, how do you know what America was 100 or 200 years ago? I'll bet you have never read the Constitution. That's the supreme law of the land. This country was all about freedom, not oppression, not about killing people or kicking people or hurting people. It's about freedom. The Founding Fathers had a dream. They had a dream that they would set the common man free for the first time in history, and nobody in the history of this world had ever been free until this country was created. And by setting them free, they would topple the kings and queens from off their thrones and would create a new world order. They even called this the New World. They were escaping from the old world. The problem is that since that time, this whole thing has been taken over by socialists and communists, and they're going to put the human race right back into slavery again. The Founding Fathers told us what we had to watch out for and what would happen if we were not eternally vigilant, and if we gave up our freedoms for some promise of some mystical security and safety from the government. They knew that if we did that, we would lose our freedoms, and the New World Order wouldn't be what they had envisioned at all. It would be what Dr. Pierce envisioned.
Maybe a stupid question, but there's really no Committee of 300? There's really no little cabal of Jewish people somewhere that make all these decisions, like I was told?
There are a whole bunch of groups that meet and work toward world socialism. The goal of socialism and communism has always been to rule the world. They do it by infiltrating groups, taking over the key positions in the group, and then working through consensus and personal influence. The wealthy socialists work through their influence through their wealth. It's not one group. The Vatican is working toward world government. International Zionism, which is not Jews, most Zionists are Christians, in case you didn't know it, they want world government. Freemasonry wants world government. The Communist International wants world government. The Council on Foreign Relations wants world government. It's a whole bunch of groups, all of them propelled by a hidden religion, which very simply is secular humanism. And what they ultimately want to do is just completely wipe out Christians, Jews, people who belong to the Islamic religion. In fact, they want to destroy all religions save theirs. The worship of the human.
I don't want that.
Well, that's what they want. Didn't you ever study the Volk religion of Germany? It had nothing to do with God. They weren't Christians.
They weren't?
No. No, this was a religion that elevated the worship of the race. Man, it's the same thing. It's what the Freemasons want to do. Perfect the race. And then lead the inferior races in their evolutionary development. Listen to me, man. It's all bullshit. All of it.
God, I feel like an idiot.
Let me tell you something. Every one of us, at some point in our life, are idiots. I was an idiot for a good portion of my life until I started thinking and woke the hell up, and I'm so thankful that I did.
You're on every night?
Monday through Thursday nights. We're not on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night.
I'm going to have to start listening to you. I've never heard any. Even the old Patriot stuff I used to listen to is different than this.
Well, that's because a lot of people don't understand what patriotism is.
I mean,
they all have agendas that divide, and the more they divide, the more easily we are conquered. Americans only have one interest. It's not race. It's not religion. It's freedom. That's what Americanism is. Anybody who is not promoting freedom is promoting divisiveness. If they're promoting divisiveness, they are making us easily conquered. Freedom is the key. That's what we must work for. Those are the great principles and ideals laid down by our founding fathers that made this the greatest nation in the world until the American people lost the definition, the concept, and the feeling for freedom.
Well, let me ask you this. What did happen a few years ago? Why did all of a sudden all the Patriot stuff just disappear? And why did they call off that March on Washington, that Linda chick, and all of that? What did happen back then?
Well, you'll have to ask her.
Because when I first called up, if you remember what I said, is I was all ready to go out there and get into it, and all of a sudden it's like, sorry, we're not going to go. And I'm like, what? I'm ready to go.
I know.
Yeah.
But you see, for us to succeed, we cannot get in a long line with guns and march toward Washington. We don't have aircraft and we don't have tanks, and I guarantee you that the upper levels of the military of the United States Armed Forces have sold out to the New World Order. They have betrayed their oaths to protect and defend the Constitution for the United States of America, and they would bomb us and run over us with tanks and strafe us and kill us, and we'd never even get to Washington, D.C. That's the truth of the matter.
Our own soldiers?
Our own soldiers.
That's another thing I was lied to. They always told me that the Army's just waiting for us to make our move.
Oh, really? Have you ever gone to an Army base and asked the commanding officer if that's true?
No, I was just told that there were hundreds of white people in the military just waiting to...
There are patriots in the military who will join us when we have the moral high ground, and when we are right in our endeavor, and when we are not participating in revolution or murder or chaos or rioting, but are in the lawful work of restoration of constitutional Republican government under the law. That day will come, and when that day comes, there will be war in America. Unfortunately, a lot of people like your Dr. Pierce will take advantage of that, and he will send his little stormtroopers out to kill anybody who doesn't look like him, instead of fight for the restoration of the Republic. And there will be blacks who, because of hundreds of years of what they perceive as mistreatment, even though it was this nation that set them free, and hundreds of thousands of white young men in the Civil War did it, gave their lives, they will go out and try to kill everybody who doesn't look like them. And the Jews, because they've been persecuted throughout history, they'll all huddle in their ghettos, and since they never own any weapons, they'll be easy victims for anybody who doesn't like them, except for those who belong to the Jewish Defense League and subscribe to the truth, which is that all power emanates from the barrel of a gun. They will defend themselves. And nobody will really know the outcome of that war, because America has been so divided against itself that while there will be a great many of us fighting for the restoration of the Republic, there will be a great many people fighting just to wreak havoc and chaos and kill each other. And so the outcome will be questionable. And yes, there will be patriots in the military who will come over to our side, but nobody knows who they are, and they won't until it happens, and it will never happen if we do not have the moral high ground.
Scary thoughts.
These are scary times, but it's not as scary as the life you've been living. I mean, you weren't even fighting for a reason. You just go out and kill somebody or beat somebody up just because they were there and they had the wrong color of skin. My God, man.
Well, that's the way it was, you know. We'd be cruising along and, you know, we'd see somebody, you know, hey, you know, we'd pull over to the side of the road and come crashing out of the car, all of us, you know, waving our sticks and our guns and...
Didn't you feel a little silly?
I always used to think that it was kind of strange when it took 6 of us to beat up one nigger, but...
Well, why don't you try calling them black people? They're people.
Okay, black people.
Yeah, they're people. They're people just like you. They have feelings, they have wants, they have dreams, they have families. Why would 6 strong young men get out of a car with guns and clubs to beat up on one poor, unarmed, helpless person?
I guess I never really thought about why everyone... It was kind of like everyone else was coming out of the car, so I came out too, you know.
Well, how could you feel proud of yourself doing that? I mean, it wouldn't make me feel brave or proud. I would feel disgusted with myself if I ever found myself in that kind of a position, which I can guarantee you would never happen.
Well, as I remember, we all went back, you know, to this one guy's house, and we were all like, you know, passing around a bottle and like, yeah, another blow struck for our side.
Let me tell you what you did. Let me tell you what you did. Only cowards would go after a single person in a large group like that with sticks and clubs and guns. Go out in your car, you know, all of you. Let's see if you can get out one, just one, with no guns, no clubs, no nothing, and meet another man face to face by yourself. And let's see how many of you go back and break out the bottle and celebrate what happened. There's no glory in that, and there's no superiority in that. That's cowardice. And you know it.
It was a long time ago, and now that I'm thinking back on it, it was kind of...
Yeah. And you wouldn't have done it if you were by yourself. And neither would any of the other of those people done that. They would not have done that if they had been by themselves. Unless, of course, they had a gun. Then they might walk up to somebody and just shoot them. That's cowardice too. Listen, my friend, I hate to do this. I wish we had more time, but we've got to call this quits because we're out of time.
I'll call you some other time.
Well, I look forward to it, and I hope you will really go and check things out and stop believing what these people are telling you. Please.
I appreciate it, man.
And thank you very much for calling tonight.
Bye.
Goodbye. Wow. Doyle, you're going to have to take this microphone because I am absolutely emotionally drained. My hands are shaking. And I hope that I have helped somebody in that.
I think you have.
thing.